creatures that lived in the furthest depths of the fundament. Savathun, one of the 3 exiled daughters of the Osmium king, heard instructions from a dead worm. Following these instructions, the sisters traveled into the depths of their world, where they met the Leviathan, who warned them against traveling deeper. Welcome back, Guardians. My name is Samlab, and in this video I want to talk about the darkness. But to understand what the darkness is, we need to go back just a little in order to understand who or what the darkness may be. We must first ask the question, who are the worm gods? Perhaps you're new and you've never played Destiny before, or maybe you've been playing for some time and you're wondering, who were the worm gods? What is all this stuff? What's the darkness and who is the traveler? Well, in this video, I'd like to cover some of those things, and maybe shed some light and share my thoughts on the reasons behind the darkness and what it intends to do with our universe. Have a listen to this lore entry from the Book of Sorrow titled Worm Gods. Thus it reads, Yule described himself as being dragon-like, saying,
I am Yule, the honest worm. Behold my passage. Behold my vast displacement, my ponderous strength, my great and coiling length, my folded jaws and curled wings. Behold the hiving city symbiotic with my flesh. I am Visund, Orash. I am at the beginning and end of lives. Behold, Zol, and and Akar, the virtuous worms. Look upon us and know that we are good.
The 5 creatures said that they had been trapped in the depths of the planet for millions of years, and that in the same time they had summoned many species to Fundament. The worm gods were aligned with the force that they called the Deep, and opposed to the nature of the sky, including the Leviathan and the Traveler, who they said were agents of the sky. According to the Leviathan, the Deep claim was that existence is the struggle to exist. It seems that while the forces of the sky promoted cooperation, the forces of the Deep promoted competition. Yule proposed a bargain to the 3 sisters. If the sisters would take the worm god's larvae into their bodies, then the sisters would gain incredible power, enough to retake their kingdom. In return, the sisters would have to promise never to abandon satisfying their curiosity, testing their strength, or using their cunning. The sisters accepted the bargain, leading to the birth of Oryx, Savathun, and Xivu Arath. Led by Oryx, the 3 sisters spread larvae to the rest of their species, creating the Hive. Races aligned with the sky tried to prevent the Hive from leaving Fundament, but they were annihilated. When the Hive met resistance against the united forces of the Ecumene, Oryx realized that the way of the Deep was to take what was needed, but the worm gods had given their larvae freely. In order to gain mastery over the Deep, Oryx would need to take that power for himself. Oryx slew his 3 sisters to gain strength, although they were not permanently, and found Akar the Worm of Secrets. Oryx slew Akar in the process, and learned how to take life and bend it to his will. He renamed himself
Oryx, the Taken King.
The other worm gods were pleased by Oryx's actions. This sounds as though Yule has proclaimed himself as the worm god, the best of all worm gods. He also describes himself as dragon-like, and it does make me wonder why that is. That Oryx would seek to destroy a worm god is interesting on its own, and also shows how powerful Oryx was. But it is puzzling why he decided that acquiring the power to take would be needed for him to take control. Where did that idea come from? Was it from the deep? Does this mean then that the deep is far older and more powerful than the worm gods? As each week approaches in Season of the Lost, we move closer and closer to what the truth is. Mara Sov shares details with us that the Taken are being controlled by their original master, which would suggest that Oryx was king of an illusion? If so, it would suggest that the deep simply made Oryx think he was in control and used the Taken king as a puppet. His dream was to be the king of shapes. Have a listen then to this short grimoire titled King of Shapes. Thus it reads.
This is the coronation of Oryx, the Taken King. It happened thus. In the cold abyss of the Sword World, King Orash walked under a cloak of green fire. He walked through the sky, and the sky shuddered and froze beneath his feet. He walked until he found Akar, the Worm of Secrets, and was denying a truth until it became a lie. Akar, my god, Worm of Secrets, I am Oryx, sole king of the Hive. I have come to receive a secret. I want the secret power of the deep which you hold. I give no secrets,
said Akar, whose voice was code.
No, said Oryx. You give nothing. Giving is for the sky. You worship the deep, which asks that we take what we need.
Akar said nothing, because if it denied this truth, the truth might become false.
But you gave us your larvae, the worm,
said Oryx.
And that is why the worm devours us now, because it has given, not taken. So I must take what I need from you, although you are my god,
said Akar.
You have not the strength.
But this was a lie. Oryx had slew his sibling, and Xivu Arath his sibling, and he had the sword logic of killing them. Oryx, the first navigator, set upon his god with his sword and his words, and cut Akar to pieces, and took from those pieces the secret of calling upon the deep. He wrote this secret on a set of tablets, which he called the Tablets of Ruin, and he wore them about his waist. Then Oryx said,
Now I may speak to the deep, the beautiful final shape. I will be king of shapes. I will learn all the secrets of our destiny.
His speech to the deep is not recorded here, but it is known that he returned, and he said,
Now I am Oryx, the Taken King, and I have the power to take life and make it my own.
Then he went out into the universe and fought the Ecumene with his tablets, and the worm god was pleased. Yes, it is possible that the final shape, the big bad itself, the deep, this ancient enemy to which we have only ever heard of and never seen, at least with no physical evidence. Is this the original master then? But each week we draw closer and closer to uncovering the truth behind the lies. Savathun has told us to walk the grey in between and look up, or was that perhaps a metaphor to look down? Whatever the case may be, this big secret has been revealed. The final shape. If what we assume to be the darkness does indeed have or is the final shape, then what about the light? Or are they merely a means to an end? A beta test perhaps between the deep and sky in creating a final shape, metaphorically speaking, that could refer to a time, place or event, maybe even an existence. Only time will tell, Guardian. In the meantime, remember to stand strong. Love is the key. Do not get bogged down by trivial matters or the musings of chaos, but keep your head up high as you become greater. But that's all I have for you today. I hope you have enjoyed watching and listening to today's video. If you did, be sure to comment below and give it a like. And consider subscribing and clicking the bell notification to find out when my next video goes live. Remember that no matter what you're facing at this moment in time, you can do all things. Stay safe and Godspeed.